PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi was speaking to
my paddle tennis partner.
Yeah, we're speaking to our old pal Rob Harris yesterday, once of AP, now of Sky News, and said, yeah, of course we're interested in Jude Bellingham. Who wouldn't be? Nasser said, an amazing player. What a player. England are lucky to have him. He's one of the best players in the tournament. Listen, everybody wants him, said Nasser. I'm not going to hide it. I respect him. He has his club. Well, that club is Borussia Dortmund. If we want to talk to him, we will talk to the club. So Nasser saying what many people like Real Madrid would probably say, like probably Manchester City might say.
Yeah, if asked the question.
Everybody likes Bellingham.
I mean, we broke the seal with Nasser doing interviews. Now you can't get him off the bloody television. Look, I mean, Jude Bellingham is an outstanding player at 19 years of age. He's got a journey to go on, but what we're seeing at this moment in time is very good. But he's on a journey, and we'll see if that continues. I suspect it will be, because I think the background that he comes from, with the solidity of a family support mechanism and a very sensible father, gives him a decent platform. Now, we would always argue that we've got the biggest league, we've got the most economically powerful league, we've got the best players, and we've got the best league, and everyone should want to play in England. The fact of the matter is most people that are big players use England as a passing through mechanism, like Ronaldo and other players that have come into our country and played at the big clubs and end up going to Spain. I don't think he ends up at PSG, with no disrespect intended to Nasser and his football club. I think he either ends up in Spain or in England. I would like to think it's England, because we've produced this talent. Birmingham City have produced this talent, and he's gone out to Germany and taken a path which I think is quite commendable, because he could have gone to Chelsea and Manchester United and looked good on paper, but maybe have not got the game time that he's gotten in Germany. The opportunities is for a variety of people. Birmingham City, if they've got a sell on, if this boy's going to be sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Borussia Dortmund, because they're going to capitalise on it.
Yeah, but listen, PSG could be Champions League winners by the time he makes his mind up.
Well, they could, but I think that there are more compelling leagues than the French league for him to play in. If he wants to go and play, with the greatest respect to our new friend, for the Harlem Globetrotters of PSG, I think that's one thing. I think if he wants to go and play, again, with the best respect intended, in significant football, week in, week out, I think the Premier League or La Liga are the two destinations I would advocate for him.
Really? I mean, when you weigh it up, Martin, if you're Bellingham and Nasser and PSG come along, you've got the opportunity to play with Mbappe, Messi.
I mean, what a choice he has is. I mean, first of all, about his ability, it's really extraordinary in the sense that, you know, I've always cried out for a midfield player who can actually pick the ball up and actually travel with it 10, 15, 20, 25 yards. In the meantime, eluding some player, seeing the pass, and then following it in. You know, a goal-scoring midfield player, but he's more than that. He can drop back into positions again. His progress has been amazing in the last while. The only thing I take Simon's point entirely, most of the way through. I'm not exactly sure that the Premier League is used as just as a sort of stepping stone for Spain. I think that Ronaldo, you mentioned Ronaldo, like moving it. Ronaldo had actually proved himself at Man United.
Gareth Bale. They all tend to, they get the lure of the Spanish clubs tends to get them in the end.
Yeah, but in the end, but they have actually proved themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
In the big league.
Absolutely. No,
you know,
no doubt.
Absolutely.
Themselves,
and they've spent.
But it doesn't seem to be a destination point, does it? It seems to be they don't end up in English football. They end up being through English football, being absolutely compelling in it, and then somewhere along the line, Real Madrid or Barcelona say, "Thank you very much. We've seen the vision. We'll have that now."
Okay. Right, you're in such a belligerent mood today. I'm going to stay with you. I just think that those players that you've mentioned all proved themselves in the Premier League in the first place.
Most certainly did. I agree with you.
No problem. Yeah. But the rest of it, the rest of it, I'll take on board. Absolutely.
Do you know what, man? He's 19. He's not 20 until June.
Jim,
so he could make up his mind before he's even 20.
It's phenomenal.
Would you have him go to PSG?
No, if I was his agent, I would rather him not play there. I'd rather, because selfishly, I'd like him to play in the Premier League where I could see him week in.
And where
week
would
out.
you? I mean, I think he should go to Liverpool. That's my view.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with you, because the one thing that you felt that Liverpool were missing this particular season was a proper midfield player of that calibre. Did I think, if you're talking about at the back end of last season, did I think that Jude Bellingham was ready for that, for stepping into Liverpool and becoming a major player? I'm not so sure that I did. His progress has been phenomenal. Really phenomenal.
I met him, I've often said this, Martin, I met him down the road from here, just down at the Den. He was playing at Millwall for Birmingham when he was 16.
Yeah.
maybe he'd just come up to 70. I think it was 16 still. And he'd put in an incredible shift in the second half, and it kept Birmingham in the game. And then proceeded to tell me afterwards about what he thought he needed to do to become a really top player. Yeah. And what he needed to learn, and the learning curve that he needed to embark upon.
Well, Jim,
he knew exactly where he wanted to go.
Is that right? That's great. If he's at 16 years of age and knows those things. I just saw him playing early days for Birmingham City as well too, where he looked lean, looked lightweight in many aspects. Now suddenly he's a man.
He's a man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As you say, he runs for lengthy periods in a game, 25, 30 yards. And he'll touch it with his right. He touches it with his left, and then he'll send a pass through, as he did for the goal against Senegal, for the set it up for Kane.
Terrific, far better than I would.
Fascinating thing will be see how he compares and matches up. It's okay dominating the midfield and being a standout midfield player against Wales and against the USA or the Iranians and against the Senegalese. Now, you put him up against the big boys, and I think he'll stand out still, but we haven't yet seen that.
No,
if we see that, then all of a sudden we're hallmarking this boy.
Absolutely, you know? I take that point in time.
Yeah, and on this thought that Simon has in some instances, and I think to a degree he's right, like Gareth Bale, for example, Ronaldo first time round at Manchester United, a stepping stone, the top flight in England, a stepping stone. That's not the case for English players, is it? Or is it? I mean, having said that, Sancho was out in Germany before. Yeah. Bellingham's out there now.
But historically speaking, it's never really been like that there for a lot of English players. You know, there were one or two left. Went to Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could trace back the number of players from Jimmy Greaves' time, and there'd be few and far between. Yeah. Absolutely, honestly, it's not that. I think there's a thing called home comforts for British players. You know. And
true.
I think there's
an
element
beginning to change, though, isn't it? I mean, we saw Kevin Keegan break the seal in 1977 when he went to Hamburg, right, and everyone started, and we saw Alan Seamerson coming the other way and all that sort of stuff. But when you get into the territory now, younger players like Sancho are going over to play in Germany because they think the opportunity is better for them there. They're going to get into the first team and play more. My argument would be is that we pride ourselves. We regularly say, and it's probably because we're little Englanders at the time, that this is the best league in the world. It's the most powerful league in the world. Everyone will want to play in this league. But when you actually find it, the flow through is they do want to play in this league, but it's not the destination. It's part of the journey, is my point. And it tends to me that all of a sudden we produce the top players, whoever they are, whether they're players that have come to play in our league or ones that we've produced, and all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, and it might change because of the Man Cities of the world, because the finances are different, and because the lure of Man City's performances and their domination of our particular domestic league, and I suspect eventually Europe, might change the narrative. But it seems to me that the best players land here, and then they have a journey, and they no doubt perform, and then they end up at what they perceive to be a bigger football club, which is debatable for me.
Yeah. Let's say there was a player playing for Aston Villa, for instance, and there was a chance of him going to Villarreal, not any of the two tops.
No, I get that. I get that narrative.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You do.
And you see Tammy Abraham going out to Roma.
Well,
which is the other side of that
argument. That's right. He did do because he wanted to progress his career. He wanted to play.
Funnily enough, Simon, Nasser Al-Khelafi the other night at dinner was saying to me, certainly in January, don't look us to do much business, but we might strengthen at the back. Maybe a central defender we might need if we're to bolster ourselves for the second half.
You're talking in big circles now, aren't you, really?
Yeah. Oh, Martin, I had to mind my table manners the other night, sir. I tell you what, the great and the good were there.
What's fascinating about Bellingham, Jim, is
how we got to that table, I don't know.
There doesn't seem to be a release clause. Normally you would have expected a release clause, because now they're talking about this deal being done between 100 and 150 million, which is ridiculous money, right? But let's just say that's the case. I'm amazed that the agent of Bellingham didn't put a release clause in there, because, as we know, the less the transfer fee, the more the player is going to receive in benefits for his particular contract. So I'm amazed that they're in this scale of things, but clearly they are. And that might well exclude and preclude Liverpool from the equation, because if you're getting to 150 million quid, there's probably one club that he will go to that would be prepared to pay that, and that would be Manchester City.